Hello, welcome to week two. Welcome, week two of the Heartbreak Hotel Book Club. I'm so glad you're here. Breathing into this feeling and space of learning tonight, letting go of the day ahead of time, knowing this space is created just for you, just for your writing, just for your healing, and that we are here to learn and to produce today. I want everybody to take a deep breath in through their nose and out through their mouth. Just feels like lots of anxious energy. It feels like there's lots of emotions coming right to the surface. So we're going to get right into it today to be able to write. So from your first week of the Heartbreak Hotel Book Club, I really want to congratulate you on one, showing up, and then two, being able to create and allow yourself and give yourself permission to write, and then to also share that writing. You guys all did amazing on so many levels and in so many ways. And I'm so proud of you. I just feel like I need to keep the chat open in case something's happening, but I think we're okay. You really have to honor being able to be vulnerable with your writings and with your words, especially when you haven't shared anything before. And I think especially if you're sharing something new into a new group, you don't really know what to expect and you don't really know where it's going to flow. But everybody did an amazing job, and I think you're doing so much better than you think. And I think that's important. And I really hope you can hear me. Now, see, where am I? I'm looking for problems that aren't even there. Let's try this again. I think we're all doing good. I really want to talk about tapping into the grief and into the emotion of sadness. Okay, when it comes to being able to write and really writing from the heart and like what it is that's important. I think that the reason we kind of avoid healing and avoiding that growth is because it hurts and it sucks and it's really painful and can be very painful. But not only that, it feels like it's all consuming. And using almost like the metaphor that if you were sitting on the beach, it's just like, oh, it's just little bitty waves, and all of a sudden tsunami comes and just overtakes you and wipes away everything else. You can predict it, you don't have any control of it, but it's a lot and you don't know where it's going to go, but you'll notice that week by week, as you continue to write, as you continue to tap into this healing and this grief, that you can actually create more space and more room for one at first for more emotions to come up, but then also creates a sense of relief for it and a sense of space that you can fill with something new. And how amazing is that? And how incredible, and what a gift really that you're giving to yourself is to create that space for healing. Even when stuff is really old or like that heartbreak isn't fresh, once we can tap into the emotion of it, it just takes us right back to the moment that it happened. And it feels like time hasn't passed at all. And it's just like, I always think of a wrinkle of time. It's like this strip, hold on. It's like a string. And the grief, when you tap into it, goes like this. And it just, time collapses and it brings you right back to that very beginning moment of it. And it can be really hard to like sit in that feeling and sit in that emotion again. And we do a lot of what, really anything we can to be able to avoid that. As you start to feel great and create that space for grief and for sadness and for true mourning, we also create the space for more joy and for more gratitude. And it's really being able to notice where we can pair the two to be able to really create like this balanced and gifted journey of life. And I'm going to teach you how to do that today. And that's what we're going to focus our writing on. Last week, when we talked about anchors and being able to really find that place, how to start, being able to compartmentalize, thinking about what poetry is, thinking about what is feeling, and noticing how different poetry is and how subjective it truly is. That poetry can be one word, it can be three, it can be 300, that you can create your own narrative and your own rhythm and your own intonation with poetry, with what you're doing. You can create that. It doesn't have to follow a set of rules. The words don't have to be line by line on a page. They can be moved like fridge magnets, and they can be moved like rocks on the gravel. Like everything has movement. The feeling has movement of poetry. The emotions of, like, the words are poetry. The literal movement of the words is poetry. And just really being able to give yourself permission to have that freedom for it to be what it needs to be and what it needs to be born from your heart. That's what you need in that moment. I want you to take a deep breath in again with me. And a deep breath out. That reminder to breathe. With the focus with the writing on grief, it's important to know that so many of our emotions that are associated with grief and with mourning are all secondary. That anger is a secondary emotion, that grief, or like resentment, the bargaining, the guilt, the shame, the victimization is all secondary, just like that one true emotion, which is sadness. And it's like grief, and really tap into that emotion. We're going to do a guided meditation later to tap into that emotion without it overwhelming you. Oh man. Oh, we're going to create great change with that. Because when we create this space and we let go, that we feel, when you feel your feelings of sadness and grief and just kind of let it wash over you. And just imagine, like, if you were laying like starfish like on the beach and a wave's like coming up, and it's just like that nice kind of coolish warm water that like cools off your skin but isn't so cold that you're like, whoop, that it just like, it really soothes you. And it really takes care of you and that feeling. Then when you can allow that to happen, even with your grief and even with your sadness, that once it sits there and it becomes that part of you, it then can recede and be replaced with something else. And I want you to notice this week how sadness is often married with gratitude. That we can be so sad that we've lost something, or that we've lost someone, or that something has happened or not happened. But then through the healing, the end point, and where we feel like we're healed, quote unquote, whatever that may mean to you, that we can approach the situation with gratitude and with seeing that. Okay. I think the most incredible thing about poetry is that when you tap into that space of grief and sadness and be able to put your words to it, it resonates with others, and then creates a space of validity where they feel like something has resonated with them, so much so that they feel validated enough to let go of that emotion, because now they understand what it is. That when you, like, we're going to say this again because this really needs to hit, and I really feel like all of you understand this as well. That when you come across a piece of poetry or a piece of art or a piece of inspiration, there is a part of it that you know, because you can feel it within you, that there is somebody else out there that understands how you feel. And because you don't feel alone, you feel safe enough to let it go. You understand that somebody else understands you. And poetry and art creates this feeling. Whether it may be a piece of art or poetry about sadness or about love or about joy, whatever the emotion that it may invoke, whether it be about an inanimate object or not, that it creates resonance of the validity of your emotion. It's what gives you life. It helps you feel alive. It helps you feel externally validated. That yes, I am this human living this journey, but there are other humans on this planet living this same truth. You feel understood because somebody was brave, tapped into that feeling, created something from it. They birthed something from their feeling. and shared it with the world, which then inspires you. I'm not saying you have to share your work today to the outside world, wherever. You are more than welcome to if you would like to do so. But it's just really thinking about like a time in your life where you have seen a piece of art created with words or with paint or whatever the medium may be, knowing that when you saw it, it resonated so much with your soul that it made you feel something, but made you feel something enough to be able to like let it go because you're safe. If you feel safe, you can let go of it. You don't need to be in control of it. And that's what great poetry can do, is put those words to feelings that help you feel safe enough to let go. I also think that when you're writing for your own healing perspective, that you feel like you're actually doing something. You are turning your grief and your mourning into something productive. It's getting out of your head. It's getting out of your heart. It's getting out of your body. You are moving it to somewhere and it is being held by a space. It has safekeeping. So you can feel you can feel relieved and satisfied and content after a writing session because you've moved your feelings into words and the words are held somewhere else. This week, I would love to encourage you to try to move your writing utensil, what you are writing into, somewhere where you were frequently at. So whether this is by your bedside, whether this is at the kitchen table, whether this is beside the couch, whether this is beside, when I yawn when I'm teaching, it's because it's like old energies moving out. It's making space for something new. Whether it's in the bathroom, like if you spend a few minutes there every day, it's like, where or in your life do you have a space you can put your phone down just for a few minutes and pick up this instead and just write when so inspired? If you are already in the habit of writing, I still encourage you to do this. When we get outside of our comfort zones, it actually inspires new ideas and creates more space to be able to do something. And we're going to talk about that more next week, which I'm going to write down. Don't forget. Create space for writing. If you want a different result, you can try something different. And I think that's great. It's like taking a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. We're going to tap into that emotion today of anger regarding your heartbreak. Before we get very guarded and not wanting to deal with said emotions, I am going to do a guided meditation again, just like we did last week, setting the intention about how we want the words to move through us. So when you tap into that feeling of the big feeling, and it seems such so poetic when you tap into the feeling of the big feeling, when you crack open your heart and let all those emotions out, we don't want it to drown us, essentially, right? So what you can do is actually have like that imagery of, I want to say like a glow stick, where you like crack it and then you shake it, but then it shines brighter, but it's still contained. So you can have that imagery. Or you can have the imagery of, when you build a sandcastle on the beach and you make like a big hole or like container of some sort, and then you break down the wall, you break down the dam, but then there's like a channel for the river, like the sandcastle water to go to, but it's still flowing, but it has somewhere to go, so it's not overflowing, but it's like going where it's supposed to. Let's do another imagery. What could we do with baking? I feel like we need like an image of baking somehow that's contained. Okay. Do you know like when you were making a birthday cake and you are piping icing onto cupcakes or to a cake, that you hold this big thing in your hands, but it's still like as you put pressure on it, it is a controlled place of where to go and you can create beautiful art with it. Okay, that's what we're going to do today is being able to use that energy, setting the intention that like when I tap into this, it's not going to consume me. It's actually going to be a great fuel for my fire. That you can use it to your advantage. And that while feeling those big feelings will give you a sense of relief, but it will also not consume you. Because that can be like the hardest thing about grief is feeling like if I tap into this, I'm never getting out of it. I don't want to be consumed by my darkness. I don't want this to take over again. Like there's so many other good things going in my life, so I don't want to wreck it by tapping into this level of sadness and level of grief. So we're going to do that same thing with that guided meditation of tapping into that, but then also closing it out so it doesn't like follow you home. Okay. I feel like asking if there's any questions. You're more than welcome to put questions in the group as well. We're going to tap into that state of flowing emotion. Okay. So let's all take a deep breath together, just like we've been doing all evening. I want you to kind of adjust, put your pen down for now. Get into that place where you feel safe to like close your eyes, like breathing into it, listening what's happening. Deep breath into your belly, out through your mouth. And do 3 deep breaths together, in through your nose, out through your mouth, bringing you back into more relaxed state of being, back in through your nose, and out through your mouth. And just letting your breathing return to a regular pattern in and out and through your nose. I'm here to remind you that you are safe and well guided, that you are strong through your journey of mourning, that grief that's held within your heart is love that needs a place to go. Deep breath in. I want you to repeat after me. Deep breath out. I am a channel of words. I feel the emotion of love with all of my body. I have great light in the time of great sorrow. I call upon the emotion of grief to come to the surface. I ask for that grief to form words. I desire those words to come out through my hands. And as I channel my feelings to words and words to action, I am expressing myself. I am healing myself through an empowered state of pleasure and pain. I allow myself to feel the feelings of grief, to listen to what they have to say. I hear them now. And I write with free will. Pausing the meditation here, allow yourself the space to create. And then when you're ready, or you feel like all your words have left you, come back. Now that you have finished your writing, being able to come back to that space of gratitude. Thank you so much for the pleasure of sitting with my grief and the emotion of sadness. I'm grateful to experience this. I'm grateful for all the love that I have in my heart and all the love I have in my being. I'm grateful for being able to channel that feeling into words. And with softness, I ask for the quiet until it is time to meet with that emotion again. Thank you. Taking the time now to write, if you haven't already, a poem about anger and about sadness and about pain. But to finish off that poem with why you were grateful for it, and give yourself the true gift of healing. It's been an honor to be your teacher and guide tonight. And we see you again next week for another episode of the Heartbreak Hotel Book Club. Thank you.